It's Cowboy Lane. Boys being cowboys. Back in the Old West, stories were told of daring men who braved the wilderness and dangers unknown. Some of these stories, though true in their basic nature, were mixed with a pinch of imagination and a good bottle of whiskey. So much so that in time they took on a life of their own, and these stories became legends of the Old West. Short on truth, but long on greatness. The following is just one of them their stories. He was a quiet fellow born with silvery hair, and he grew up taking chances on every kind of dare. He'd take on a job just to prove the test, and the kind that kept him moving from the plains to the west. He didn't want the trouble, though it was always around, and it kind of seemed to follow him from town to town. But those kids so left to see was best would end up in the graveyard as the last place they would rest. That's right. Colonel Obadiah Gunn. You see, he came from the same stock as old Jim Bridger and Carson and Bowie and so many great fellers. He was the kind of man that you knew would come if you were facing off the devil and your time was done. But you'd never see him flinch or try to run. That's the kind of friend you had in Colonel Obadiah Gunn. Colonel Obadiah Gunn. After years of wandering, he had found a spot, the only place he'd ever seen that made him stop. So he married his sweet darling, and they had a son. Life was looking pretty good for Colonel Obadiah Gunn. But then one day, the law came around with the bankers and nasty railroad men from town. They told him to leave because they were taking his land. And he knew right there he had to make a stand. Colonel Obadiah Gunn. He stood proud and tall as they came rushing in. He was quick on the draw, but he had counted 10. He kept on shooting, but as they fell, he realized he couldn't send them all to hell. Then a roar of bullets took his life and son, and a single job completed with the men had begun. They left him still breathing in a shallow grave. No markers show who had died there that day. And as he was about to use the last of his breath, a hand reached down and pulled him from death. They say what he saw was a tall-headed man, and he told him that he needed him for a part of his plan. He told him to find those who had done him wrong, and that he would return to get him when the job was done. No, I'm sure you'll never die. Well, it's up to you to figure out if it's true or a lie. But his last said he was riding into the sun. And that, my friend, thank goodness, is a legend of Colonel Obadiah Gunn. Thank you, darling.